Well, good morning, Matador. How are you, my friend? That outfit behind you is a crazy thing that I picked up on Oliveira Street, Jaw. That is, well, it's kind of like a traditional Mexican, I don't know what you would actually call that kind of outfit. But that might be your Halloween costume. What are the chances of getting you in that thing? You got a month to think about it. Less than a month. Okay, well that's not a good look. Alright, let's go outside. I gotta go to church, so let's take you for a walk first. Daze with Jordan the Lion, and that face begin now! Well, it is a beautiful day outside. Hopefully that means it's gonna be a great day. Alright guys, we will see you after church. Well, check out how Joe's Coffee has been decorating since I've been gone. Pretty great job. Check that out. This is just the bench out front. Arnold! Leatherface, classic. A little bit of Biggie and Tupac even. Well, Sweetie Pies has been replaced by the Paleo Diner. We were wondering what happened to it. That's what happened to it. I think what I'm gonna do for the vlog today is actually over in Hollywood, so we'll head back over there. So today what we're gonna vlog is actually something that I learned about last night from Brian at Dearly Departed. And it's a filming location for a music video, and this person who this vlog is about, I've always wanted to do a vlog on them. I really couldn't find a Hollywood connection, so today will be that day. Now this is somebody who I had never actually heard his music, never heard of him until the very first time I walked into a legit music store. Not a record store, but like a music store that sold instruments. I went in there and this guy had just passed away. They had posters everywhere. Everybody there was wearing like his shirts and stuff like that, just mourning his passing. And I was like, I've never even heard of this guy. That's always stuck out in my mind. And as I became a guitar player, started learning how to play, this was just a guy that was leaps and bounds beyond almost anybody else. I mean, you have to put him in the category of like top 10 guitar players of all time. So this is gonna be a real thrill to get to go over and kind of connect the dots or connect this location to the world famous Stevie Ray Vaughan. Sad girl music. Take a look at that. What does that tell you when take a walk with someone, a people walker, and that many of the tags or the phone numbers have been taken off there? Whoa. Yeah, John insisted we come here. Are you excited?
Hey there, oh my gosh, look who's here. Get you a little treat there. No, let's try one other one. That's mackerel.
Picky, picky, picky. Gonna get him one of those. What a great costume. Jurassic Jaw.
Oh no, I know that.
How perfect. The answer to your relationship problems. Get a free psychic love reading. This is not a sponsored vlog by them or anything like that. Okay. So it all comes down to basically one performance, is how Stevie Ray Vaughan and his band Double Trouble ended up coming to Hollywood. It's kind of a long drawn out story, but it was basically in the early 80s they had been playing, and they used to have a woman named Leanne Barton who was their singer. She left, went solo, and landed a deal with Elektra Records. When they were having her record release party, they hired Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble to be the entertainment that night. Now they had an amazing gig, and they always had amazing gigs because the whole band was super tight, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, the guitar was considered an extension of his body. Some people play guitar, but Stevie was doing so much more. He put his entire body, his entire everything into it, and at the end of every night he would just be completely exhausted. So they're having a great gig, and the man who signed Leanne Barton was loving this band he was seeing in front of them. He said to him, "You guys should play Montreux," which was, Montreux was in Switzerland. It was a big festival every year. And he said, "I know the guy who books it. I think I can get you on there." Next thing you know, they were the first unsigned band to ever play Montreux, 1982. Whoa. Now the night the band was to perform, most of the bookings on that schedule that night were acoustic, and Double Trouble was anything but acoustic. In fact, they were a three-piece hard-driving electrified blues band. And when they started performing that night, they played a classic Double Trouble set. They did not let up off the gas the entire set. They went full force and got booed in between every song. And even though their technical performance was amazing, the people that went that night weren't expecting that kind of music and just didn't get it. But one man saw this performance and did get it. He thought Stevie was maybe the greatest urban blues player he'd ever seen, and he contacted the band shortly after their set and let them know. That man was David Bowie. That's a pretty good sign that you're onto something if David Bowie gets it, but then when nobody else in the crowd does, still ends your night pretty sad. And that's the way it stayed until the next night when the band had booked themselves in a little club that nobody else was playing in. Now that night, Jackson Browne was headlining the festival, and after his band was done, they all went down there and started watching Stevie's band, loved it so much that they joined in and basically jammed for hours and hours until the sun came up. So by the end of this, they were all friends, and Jackson Browne told Double Trouble, hey, if you ever come to LA, I have a recording studio, basically like a big warehouse. You can, you know, use it and do whatever you want in there. So Stevie didn't forget that. So what was supposed to be a grand opportunity that was supposed to change the course of the band, really nothing changed. They still had no money, they still had no record label, and they came back to the US and resumed business as usual, performing gigs in their old broken down milk truck they were using as a tour bus, until one day Stevie said, what about Jackson's offer? We should go to LA. But they didn't have any money, so they decided to put together a tour to make a little money along the way, and they showed up in LA and said, here we are, can we record? Hollywood. So Jackson Browne kind of noted that it must have been meant to be, because normally you could never just show up in Los Angeles at a recording studio and say, here we are, we're ready to record, but Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble were lucky because they showed up the week of Thanksgiving, and it just so happened that nobody had run it out that time, so Jackson said, you know what, you guys got a week, go for it, and they used every bit of that week to record some amazing music that eventually became Texas Flood. So then as that's happening, while they're recording those songs and playing gigs, they get a call from David Bowie wanting Stevie to play on his next record, the Let's Dance record. So apparently what Bowie's plan was to figure out a way to include Stevie in his album, because he was such a great talent, though they didn't see really how they could kind of put it in pop music, and so David figured out a way to do it with Let's Dance. Now what he wanted to do was he wanted Stevie to play on the record and then also hit the road with him, and then Double Trouble would be the opener. And I guess this was originally agreed upon, but once they started doing rehearsals, David Bowie had like choreography that went along with his stage show, and Stevie just would not do that. He was just not into it. Like whatever directions they would give him, he would just still be Stevie doing his thing. And in the end, he just told David Bowie, it's like, this isn't gonna work, this isn't my thing, I don't want to do it. Kind of a amazing thing for a guy who's in a struggling band to tell David Bowie, thanks but no thanks. So eventually Double Trouble would record a few more songs over the next coming weeks, finish up Texas Flood, and would basically become huge. They would start playing festivals all over the world, put out many records, until the unfortunate day in 1990 when Stevie Ray Vaughan died in a helicopter crash. Very probably fitting, I guess, that it would be right after a performance with Eric Clapton, Robert Cray, and his brother. So On the very last album that came out while Stevie was alive, called In Step, they made a music video right here at the Halifax apartments in Hollywood. You might think by the way the video is shot for Crossfire that it's in Austin, Texas, but it's not. It's actually right here. The very first shot, like the very first couple of seconds of the video, we see Stevie and his guitar walking along the sidewalk right over here, and they go in that, he goes in that doorway. Now this is the same doorway that we see Stevie go into in the music video, and it's changed a little bit because originally over on this side it had the address instead of saying Halifax, and on this side it said vacancy. And this is also, they do a flashback shot of him doing his guitar solo right here as well. Now they also use this lobby because most of the video takes place inside here. Stevie actually, like the next shot we see is him walking down the, kind of like the hallway of the lobby in front of the stairs, and then he performs most of the song standing in a doorway of a room. So I'll see if maybe somebody that lives in here that's going in a little bit will let me go in if I explain to him what I want to take a picture of. We'll try. An interesting little tidbit is if you walk out the front door where Stevie is playing the guitar solo, this is right across the street, and this building covered in ivy was where Ed Wood lived, the director Ed Wood and filmmaker, and it's also where the man who wrote Born to Be Wild wrote that song. So here it is, here's the lobby that he walks past. We actually see him walk right by this stairwell, and the band at various points is all standing, like the horn section's all under there. But we see Stevie go straight through here. He goes up this stairwell, and basically they make you believe that he's performing right in this doorway the whole time because he's actually at the top of this stairwell throughout different points of the video. So he's basically doing most of the song right in here is what it looks like. And then, yeah, they just kind of fake the rest of it. Kind of cool to get inside and see how similar it looks still after all these years. This was recorded or filmed in 1989. One of the greatest guitar players of all time filming and playing those solos here. How cool is that? Now when they filmed the video, this type of door wasn't here. It was actually this door, and you can match up all of that behind him while he's out playing the solos in front of the front step. Now this wasn't all, he actually filmed most of his guitar solo on the roof, so let's go check that out. So when they're cutting back and forth from him being on the roof soloing, they're cutting back and forth right here, and you can actually see this step behind him right towards the end of the video. And if you imagine these doors not being there, and you consider the doors that I just showed you, there it is. So cool to find something that Stevie did right here in Hollywood. I had no idea all these years that I've been walking past this place that that video was shot here. So most all of the verses and everything in the music video are shot inside where I showed you right there in that door jam or walking through the lobby, but most of the solo is done right up here. You can see this right over his shoulder. He's basically like, the way they would have shot it is he would have had his back to us for the most part, but there's, yeah, the entire solo chunk right in the middle of the song. For the most part is him up there, and then shots of the horn section up there also. Crossfire. Stevie Ray Vaughan has went down as a legend in rock and roll music and is a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So they have a ton of the streets over here by Capitol Records closed off and a lot of music, so I'm gonna go over there and see what's going on. What the heck? That's monstrous. That's new. I've never noticed that Paul McCartney thing over there. I guess if you're one of the last survivors, you get stuff like this. Yeah, you just never know what you're gonna run into in Hollywood on any given day, you know. Oh, it looks like it's a celebration of the 100th year of the LA Philharmonic, which basically just means tons of food trucks. This is a silent disco. That's why they're all dancing. Check this out. They all have headphones on. Oh, look, they have a stage over here. Live music. Let's go check it out. Here's a ukulele workshop. They must have had some sort of like bike marathon or something today. Yeah, it's an obscene amount of bicycles everywhere, so that has to be part of it. Kind of cool. Gotta add a little something to the Stevie Ray Vaughan vlog. And a parrot. We're inside what used to be the Palace Theater. This is where I believe the Ramones played their very last show. There's an old picture of where we're at right now. Yep, that's Milton Berle, and this also, before it was the Palace Theater, is also known as the El Capitan. The other El Capitan. There's still one that Jimmy Kimmel performs in, but this is a different one. Alright, that was cool. Now let's get out of here. Well, good evening everyone. I wanted to thank Sally Yachts, Steve Hall, and Rick Daze for making contributions to my channel, and I was really glad to get to do this vlog today. Like I said, I've wanted to do something Stevie Ray Vaughan, and when we saw, what we saw today, and it's in that music video and everything, I just thought that was so cool. Because I used to hear stories, just to tell you how intense of a guitar player that guy was. I used to hear stories about him literally playing to exhaustion, and he used to use what were considered the heaviest guitar strings that you can put on a guitar, like an electric guitar. And if you've never played guitar, in order to play guitar, you have to develop pretty heavy calluses on your fingertips. That's just part of the method of playing. He used to play so hard that some nights he would literally wear the calluses to where they were breaking off, and he would have to super glue his fingertips on at the end of the night so he could play the next night, or sometimes even that night. So, man, kind of crazy to get to see where that guy stood playing those solos right in that doorway. Pretty awesome. Have a great night. Come back and see me tomorrow. We'll see you then. That's it. Goodbye.